Nobody ever asked me what I wanted. They only ever asked me to smile.
It's August 3rd, 1962. 36 hours from now, Marilyn Monroe will be found dead in this room. She has no idea what's coming, but I do. The year is 1962. The address is Fifth Helena Drive, a Spanish-style house at the end of a quiet street, the first home she ever owned. She bought it 6 months ago. 6 months. She's sitting at her vanity in a silk robe, no makeup, no cameras, no studio lights. This is not the Marilyn on the poster. This is Norma Jeane. The world knows Marilyn Monroe. They don't know the woman who read Dostoevsky between takes, who fought the studio for every serious role, who ran her own production company when no woman in Hollywood dared. Tonight, I'm going to ask her the questions history chose to ignore. Miss Monroe, may I call you Norma Jeane? That's where I want to start. You grew up without a mother who could keep you. You were shuffled between foster homes, 12 of them by the time you were 16. Most people who survive that build walls. You built a smile, the most famous smile in the world.
It wasn't a wall, it was a door. You learn early. If you're pretty and you're quiet, people keep you.
And what's the cost of that door?
The cost is that nobody looks for the woman behind it. They see the smile and they think the smile is the person. I once told a photographer, I want to be an artist, not an erotic spectacle. He laughed. He actually laughed.
You married Joe DiMaggio in '54, America's most famous athlete and America's most famous actress. The Fairytale. Except it wasn't.
Joe loved Marilyn. He didn't love Norma Jeane. When the skirt blew up over the subway grate and 7,000 people cheered, he was furious. Not at the crowd, at me, for letting them look.
He was jealous of a character you were playing?
He was jealous of something I couldn't turn off. Marilyn wasn't just a role. She was surviving. But Joe needed a wife who came home and disappeared. I didn't know how to disappear. I only knew how to perform.
10 weeks ago, you sang Happy Birthday to the President of the United States in a dress so sheer the audience held its breath. In my time, people still talk about that night, but they talk about it like it was a performance, like you were just performing.
Do you know what it's like to be wanted by everyone and known by no one? The president's people called my publicist. They wanted Marilyn Monroe at the gala. They didn't want the woman who spent the morning in bed with a migraine, who had to be sewn into that dress because she couldn't eat.
In my time, people still argue about your connection to the Kennedys. Some say you were a weapon used against them.
They were kind to me when they needed something. And when they didn't,
let me ask you this differently. You started your own production company in 1955, Marilyn Monroe Productions. You were the second woman in Hollywood history to do that. You fought for the right to approve directors, to choose your material. You walked out on Fox when they wouldn't let you do the bus stop. You won. In my time, they call you a sex symbol. They put you on t-shirts and posters.
They don't call you what you were. A producer, a fighter, a businesswoman who broke a studio system that was designed to consume you.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like I'm screaming in a room full of people and they're all complimenting my dress. You know what Arthur said to me once? Arthur Miller, my second husband, the great playwright. He said, "I married you because you're complex." And then he wrote a play about a woman who destroys the men around her, and everyone wondered if it was about me. The intellectuals loved me when I was a puzzle. They lost interest when I became a person.
Norma Jeane, I have to ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly, because in 36 hours, you won't be here to answer it.
You know when I die.
I know what's reported. Barbiturates. An empty bedroom. The housekeeper finds you in the morning. The coroner calls it probable suicide. But in my time, 6 decades later, people still don't believe that. They think the Kennedys had you silenced. They think the CIA, the Mafia, the FBI.
Do you want to know what killed me? It wasn't a pill, and it wasn't a president. It was a lifetime of being told that the most interesting thing about me was the way I looked in a photograph. It was 20 years of studios, husbands, agents, and strangers reaching into me and pulling out whatever they needed, and leaving the rest on the floor.
But that night, the night of August 4th, what actually happened?
I'm tired, Angus. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. The kind of tired where you've been carrying a person inside you for 20 years and she's heavier than you are. And the only reason you keep holding her is that if you put her down, you don't know who's left.
Did you choose to leave?
I think the choice was made a long time ago. By the foster parents who returned me. By the studio that renamed me. By every person who looked at me and saw something to use. I just stopped fighting the current. I would say I was a girl who wanted to be loved, not the image, not the icon.
The portal was pulling me back. I wanted to stay. I wanted to tell her that in my time, people would finally start listening. That the woman who read Dostoevsky between takes would finally get her due. But that would be a lie. In my time, they still put her face on coffee mugs and debate who killed her, instead of asking why nobody saved her. They still call her a tragedy instead of reading the letters she wrote, the scripts she fought for, the company she built from nothing. Norma Jeane, in my time, there's a star with your name on Hollywood Boulevard. Thousands of people walk over it every day. They don't even look down.
That sounds about right.
I'll look down.